All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 45th annual Wintertime Open. 45th annual. Yeah. So cool. I have Mike Sale here.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You are watching Pin Deep Disc Golf videos with Mike Jewell. I was lucky enough to TD this with my friend Steve Rico. We're going to pick up on round 2. We did not film round number 1. We're going to pick up on round number 2. This will be the front 9. Enjoy.
Have fun.
All right. Leading in after round number 1, we have Cale Leiviska in first place. A couple other people chasing him down. Cale is just such a buttery thrower.
This course suits his game so well.
So well.
Jeff McCormick, I believe, coming out of Clovis, California, rated 981. It's a hot round for him. And Parker has been working on his game a ton. He's out on tour this year. Another SoCal boy here in Chris Pinegar, or Junior as he's known. So we got some slayers on this card.
Absolutely. Here we go. Hole number 1, 315 feet. One of your most signature disc golf holes in the history of ever. Okay, must stay right of this mandatory tree here. It's only a par 3. You're going to need a big skip to get all the way over to this basket. If you miss that mandatory, you go to the drop zone. If you go in the street, you play it where it play it back in bounds. This is a tough hole.
Yeah,
this is a tough hole to start.
This is not a birdie that you're planning on getting. You know, you don't want to take this hyzer and saw it off early and miss that mandatory by playing too aggressive. And the street even comes into play if you juice it. And so it's a very delicate first shot. See how Cale navigates it. Oh, that is beautiful. See, he was even gunning for that street there.
He got lucky. He was going too fast, and he hit that tree and got stuck there.
See how Jeff manages the pressure being on this star-studded lead card. That's a beautiful way to start, Jeff. Great throw.
Wow. He's
still going to be 45, 50 feet with a ceiling to contend with on that putt, though. Parker, another prodigy player. You picked up sponsorship from them last year. That's going to be right around the same place where Jeff is going to be. And that's really, it's hard to get much more than that on this, even with the wood chips that are helping you. And
oh no.
You do not want to start that way. This is not an easy up and down from the drop zone, especially, from your nerves being on the first shot. But looks like Pinegar will have a tricky look to save his bogey at that point. Oh, get it.
Oh!
Almost.
Almost got it off the rock. He's laughing about it.
And he's just so good at those touchy nose-up shots. That's just his game to a T.
Jeff's step-through putt there hit that branch and knocked him down.
Wow, Parker actually got a lot closer than I expected. He's probably 35 feet here, and he knew. Right when he let it go. Yeah, Darren. Yeah, Darren.
Oh, man.
Don't even need to see him on camera, and I just know that we'll be hearing a lot of him.
Oh, yeah. All right, there we go.
Good putt from Chris as well. Cale's tapping in for par, but it's a really great birdie to start off for Parker.
Hole number 2, 284 feet, par 3, low canopy, beautiful hole. We love this one. Just before you get to the basket, there's going to be a ditch that is out of bounds. You play it where it lies and take a one-stroke penalty.
And this is difficult because a lot of times you're going to land before that ditch and you're trying to skip over it with a fast sidearm, and a lot of times you're going to hit something or roll in there, and so this one feels like a crapshoot a little bit. You almost don't hate to land where Parker did because then you can just have a clean shot at your par. So this is a tricky one. Cale showing us the backhand line, and he is just buttery, but gets caught up early. He's going to have 70, 80 feet to get up and down for his par. Maybe even give it a bid similar to what we saw in hole 1. And this is more what you typically see from Jeff, but yep, he somehow snuck through the back, but you see his disc caught the stability at the end there, which is what you need.
Yeah, so he'll be just inside the circle there.
Pinegar gets caught up early, unfortunately.
Yeah, you'll see that tree hit more than most of the trees on this hole. Just it's kind of the tree that you're aiming at but want to avoid. So
that's a good up and down. Here's Parker. Throwing a overstable, probably putter mid, and makes the typical mistake. You're going to see a lot of people run this long just to try to avoid getting that OB creek, but that's going to leave you with a testy 25 to 28 footer. Here's Parker to save that. Again, a gutsy putt. Navigates it very well.
And that was kind of a death putt too, and same thing here for Pinegar. He's looking straight at that ditch, the OB ditch, and just got to kind of keep that out of your mind while you're putting.
Still haven't seen Jeff. Ooh, Cale, that looked a little high left, but basket liked it. All right, and we'll have Jeff here tapping in. Looks like Jeff's going to take the outright lead here.
There we go. Get him, Jeff.
20 holes in, 11 down. That's nothing to scoff at. What do we got for hole 3, Mike?
Hole number 3, we're going to be playing from the tee of 3 all the way to basket number 4. This is a par 4. The fence actually doesn't exist in the tournament. But you're going to have out of bounds on the left-hand side of the fairway. There's a mandatory. Is there a mandatory on the right? No, there's not a mandatory on the right. The play here for me, because I'm old, is to kind of land around here. You know, if you throw like your max distance backhand with a little bit of a turnover, you'll land right around there. And then that leaves you a pretty easy upshot, like a sidearm upshot to the basket. It's a really long hole. There's not a whole lot of people that can go up and over the trees to even have a chance at getting a 2 here. So
yeah, we'll see a lot of people take that up and over, maybe a backhand roller for those that are confident in throwing that shot. But a good 2-shot hole here.
Jeff going with that sidearm. He's going to
get caught up by those low branches. Parker could be lining up that roller. No, he's just throwing a big air shot.
Ooh.
And gets
punched
through,
all the way through. Wow.
And that's prime position. He's going to have a relatively easy sidearm approach from there.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be 100 feet shorter than that.
Right.
Like in line where he is, but.
And Cale's doing the same thing here. Biting off that line a little bit shorter, more controlled, and he's going to land in those picnic benches, which is a risk here at Oak Grove. There's a lot of infrastructure that comes into play on these holes. Pinegar might be a little pinched off there on the right side. It's harder to access if you stay on the right side of the fairway there.
Jeff taking a big turnover shot here, and he's going to end up on the side of the hill to the right-hand side, maybe, I don't know, 70 shy of the basket.
Tough putt to run. You can't quite see it yet, but this slope is pretty stark, and there's a lot of rocks and other things that could kick your disc, and you just end up rolling down the hill a lot here. So it's difficult to run anything, especially from the side.
Look at.
And Cale just showing us why he's one of the best players in our game, especially at those touchy, nose up, slightly turned over shots.
Yeah, Junior just having to take a really odd stance there to throw that sidearm up, but
pretty favorable result for catching cabbage that early though.
Yeah.
And Parker actually going with the backhand.
Oh, he was like 2 inches from hitting the cage there.
Very nicely done by Parker.
He's probably actually happy he didn't hit the cage. He probably would have.
Yeah, could have rolled.
Yeah.
And that looked well thrown.
The squirrel liked it.
Yes, they did. Oh, Jeff ended up a little bit shorter than I thought he did.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't hate the bid. That's a confident bid. Almost cashed it, but that's going to be an unfortunate bogey for Jeff. We jinxed him, Mike.
I know. It's my fault.
Pinegar does the same. Just comes up barely short. Here's Cale. He should be well inside the circle. Yeah, this is a tap in, but love the routine from Cale. He's kind of switched to more of this this jabby spin putt lately, and still just as confident. We're not seeing the traditional hyzer pitch that we used to see from him a lot more often.
And Parker's such a clean putter too. I actually never played with him. I played with his dad a couple times. So
he's got a very complete game, and you can really tell the mental fortitude that he's gained in the last couple of years. You know, grinding day in and day out. He did a lot of work in the gym in the off season, and he's playing great on tour right now. So keep it up, Parker.
all right, hole number 4, we have a mandatory, that tree that we're passing right now on the left-hand side. You must stay right of that. There's a whole section up here that's out of bounds on the right-hand side by this bathroom. There's a line that runs from the bathroom all the way up the right-hand side of the fairway as well. That's going to be out of bounds. That line will wrap all the way around the basket, but not really reachable once you've passed the basket. You're not really, I didn't see anybody go OB that far. It's actually hard to get to, but the basket's going to be resting right where you see this little flag.
Yeah, and this is formerly the spider hole, and unfortunately it was a staple at this tournament, so sad to see that go, but this is a good 2-shot hole, and that OB line will only come into play for players that are really trying to be conservative and overturn this, you know, compensating for the mandatory. But we see Parker just lace this shot.
That's
perfect.
Top level result that you want right there. You can't ask for anything better than that.
He's playing with confidence right now. That's got to go. Turn. Does.
Oh.
Catches that tree. Those are the trees that you have to navigate following the Mando, but he may still have a look at getting up and down for his birdie. Pinegar looks like he might have made the same mistake, but he gets through all of those, and he's way up there as well.
He's way up there. He's going to have a kind of a tricky stance. I think he's got a couple trees straight in his face, so he's going to have to kind of step to the side and maybe throw a sidearm or something to get around it.
Oh, and Jeff he grip locked that a little bit. Thankfully, I believe he's still in bounds here. He hasn't yet navigated the Mando, but he shouldn't have an issue.
Yeah, he passed the Mando. It was halfway down the hill there, but he had just like a really tricky stance on that hillside. Still gettable from there, but he'll have a really tough run at it with that tree in the way.
There's vintage Cale with that air bounce. Looks like likely a mid-range or maybe a fairway driver.
Really close to that out of bounds line. It's, Kevin, one of the guys that runs the Oak Grove Disc Golf Club. Just a great guy. Couldn't run the tournament without him.
Parker showing us how this hole should be played. That's going to be 3 for 4 for him.
Yeah, he made it look easy.
And Pinegar's just got a jump putt. You know he's running too. That had a chance too. But now he's going to be unfortunately about 35 feet for his birdie. Jeff pitching up for par.
This one to save par here.
This is for his birdie, I believe.
Is it?
Great putt.
Beautiful.
Pinegar. Here's Cale after almost going OB. This is going to be for his birdie.
Oh. There we go.
Cale's got swag, man. He just always has this swagger when he walks, confidence, and he is such a nice, genuine human being. A real pleasure to play with. Parker with the tap in, so a couple of birdies, couple of pars.
Went ahead and took that lead there. So we got a new leader at 12 down. Hole number 5. This is 2 holes combined on the normal course. 457 feet. It is a par 4. The road to the right is out of bounds. It's kind of hard to explain, but the road is out of bounds. Everything to the right of the road is out of bounds, except for the hole that, like the ground that you're throwing on right now is good. The ground that you're landing on is also good, but everything else is out of bounds.
Yeah, it's kind of a river that plays as a half circle is the best way to describe it as the road shapes. And so players are going to try to navigate over here and then pitch up for their birdie. It's a tight tee shot, and getting to that landing zone is very tricky. And then you're going to be likely faced with a risk-reward shot with lots of signs and rocks and other things that are coming into play.
I feel like the shot to make is what Parker's doing right here. It's overstable, distance driver, fairway driver, end up on the left-hand side. That's what you want. That is just picture perfect.
Low, flat to hyzer, and players are keeping it low here to get that ground play because you really need that scoot and also that right to left movement. Cale thrown more of a finesse shot that's just going to finish straight, which is going to be, he looks like he thought he was out of bounds off the tee. But he's going to have a more difficult shot. And Jeff taking the more unconventional route up and over the top. If you got him, throw him, as we say.
Yeah, he's going to end up getting hung up early, put himself in a really tough position.
And that looked like he yanked it, too. And he's not liking it.
Here's Darren giving him some advice.
Let's see how he responds to, that is not inbounds. That's a little island there. But that's not part of the hole, unfortunately. So Pinegar will be now throwing 4 out of position. And I believe Cale is in bounds there, right?
He's in bounds, yeah. He elected to take that straight gap, but when you do that, there are a couple guardian pine trees over there that'll knock you right back into the out of bounds. And fortunately, he stayed safe.
And here's Jeff showing us. Ooh. And I believe that's in bounds.
He was in bounds. He wanted a big flare to get to the basket, but it got hung up.
And that is the tricky part of this hole, and it is just eating our players alive right now. So you can see how difficult this is. And now Chris might show us, watch his right foot. It's probably going to come up right before he throws here because he's standing out of bounds. So you see how he lifted it as he threw, and that is nicely done. It's a Barry Schultz move if I've ever seen one. Parker just laying up. Yeah, Darren. I believe that's going to be for par. And this is Cale for his birdie. He's probably looking somewhere, circle 2, 50 feet maybe.
Oh, just nicked the rim, it looked like.
It's a beautiful run. Now, Jeff is on the other side of the island, but he does have a look here to save his par. I would guess this is also about 45, 50 feet. Just pulls it a little bit right.
Oh, no. Jeffrey! He'll just tap on and get the hole over with and get out of there.
Looks like a double bogey for Jeff, unfortunately, after that 3-putt. I believe it's a bogey for Chris. It should be Cale and Parker for their pars. Tough hole.
Tough hole.
Especially
Very tough.
at 450 feet.
Yeah, it's one of those holes that if you don't have those 2 perfect shots, you're really probably going to run into some extra strokes. Those 2 perfect shots, and it's an easy birdie, it feels like. I was just showing this awkward walk down this pathway so that you don't walk up the fairway, down the fairway, and the green of the other holes. On to hole number 6. This is a new hole, 325 feet. You're gonna ignore the basket that we're gonna fly over. You've got an out of bounds line all the way up the left-hand side, and then there's another out of bounds line that runs with these rocks. This dirt path is actually going to be out of bounds, and then there's an island out here where you see this fence, and then the basket is going to be resting on the island. It's a risk-reward type shot. You can absolutely get there. I got there a couple times. I didn't really see a reason to run it. It's just too risky for me. So you'll see a lot of players play straight up to the rocks and then be able to run like a jump putt. Parker does exactly that. He puts it right up to the edge of the rocks. Cale throwing a putter here, buttery, right up the middle, would have aced the normal position.
Now, what's your opinion on these kinds of holes, Mike, where we see, 60 to 80% of the MPO field laying up, especially those that are playing on lead card, from a design perspective?
I like that we offer that type of shot. You offer the risk. Like you see here, Jeff's going for it. He wants it. He gave up a couple strokes on the last hole. He wants it. And I think he was actually in bounds there, but I like giving someone a risk reward. type of situation. I don't like a hole that no one goes for.
Right. So it's just finding that delicate balance.
Right.
So you probably want to see something more where you have, like 25 to 50% of the field laying up rather than 60 to 80. So it's a very delicate from a design perspective. And Cale showing us that you can do both if you want, almost ringing that up.
Yeah, this is what I saw most people doing on the weekend is putting themselves close enough to the basket to be able to run a putt. Oh, so close.
Beautiful from Parker. This is Jeff after going out of bounds.
Actually, don't know if he was out of bounds. I don't think he was. I think he was in. I think he was safe over there. Luckily, tucked away on the corner with the rock.
Got it. Sometimes when you start, not feeling your putt and you're in your own head, those 18 feet and in, where you really have defined small motor skills, it becomes really difficult, and you can just kind of, fall into a snowball running downhill.
Yeah.
Just gaining steam and losing strokes. It's difficult. We've all been there. It's like 3 pars for our card and a bogey for Jeff, unfortunately. And this is the patented, they're calling it a par 3 this year.
We changed it to a par 3. This is hole number 7, 446 feet. There's that mandatory that you must stay left of right off the tee. If you miss that, you advance to the tee that we just flew over there. And then the parking lot is out of bounds. It's gettable on a birdie, but we do like that 3.5 type hole. I think there should be more 3.5 type holes in golf, just for the sake of it. It kind of looks funny when you look at a scorecard and there's like somebody shot 50 down. Somebody shot 50 down. We're like, what are we doing here? We should change pars, right?
Here's Parker showing you the best line to attack this hole. This is very difficult to access on a backhand. You can't really throw it inside enough to get it to turn over. The best you can kind of hope for is a 50, 60 footer from a perfectly thrown backhand. Cale's going to be short of that landing zone. And this also brings up the point that ultimately par is irrelevant. You are competing against the players in your division. You are playing from the same tee pad, and it doesn't matter what the par is because everybody's playing the exact same hole. The only place where par comes into play is if you miss the hole because you get par +4.
And Jeff's going to be buried off to the right-hand side over here. See if he can punch his way out.
It opened up a little bit on that side, more accessible, but Jeff's going to have a tester for par again.
Cale going with that high floater. He'll just end up with a tapper there for his par.
Parker about the same, probably outside circle 2, kind of 80-foot full go. Good bid.
Wow.
Pinegar is going to be nearly the same distance, kind of the outside of that comfortable putting range, and he is also going to almost draw it up. And Jeff, 40 feet, 45 feet to save his par.
Oh.
And just can't get one to stick right now.
We are just beating up some baskets on this hole.
He's feeling it. Come on, Jeff. You got this. This is when you gotta, redial in your emotions and just realize that there's nothing you can do about the scores that have already come and just focus on one shot at a time. And it's so difficult to do during a round, especially when you have high expectations of yourself. All right, tell us about hole 8, Mike.
Hole number 8, 305 feet. It's a par 3 to me. Pretty simple hyzer. I like to throw an overstable fairway like a rival, hang it up high to the right, and then just spike down into the basket. What you want to avoid is hitting this hill and skipping super far to the left. The parking lot is actually out of bounds.
And it plays on this delicate mound, and the shot is blind from the tee, and so it's hard to judge the distance, and it's hard to judge the width that you need to throw this hyzer on.
Yeah, you just have to trust your distance. You have to know your disc, trust your distance. Parker does that. He landed right on the rock line. He's maybe 35, 40 feet from the basket. He'll have a chance at a deuce.
Cale throwing a little bit wider, more stable line, which is what you traditionally see, and that is just well done. But he may have skipped down that slope.
We have Junior here going out wide right. He's going to spike in. Perfect.
That's well thrown. Those rocks, if you're there, it's pretty much a tap in.
Yeah, and another thing on this hole, oftentimes it's very windy.
Yes.
When you're putting on this hole. So the fact that it's kind of a little hill, if you're on either side of that hill, it can be a little nervy.
Very easy to make that mistake that we just saw Jeff make, hanging it out too wide, compensating for the hyzer, and this is a difficult putt. Parker from just inside the circle, probably about 25.
Oh no.
That's really the first miscue we've seen from him on the putting green.
Yeah, and it looks like Cale did slide off to the left.
Rim, off the rim again. Our lead card is having a little bit of trouble putting in the basket these last couple holes to see if Parker can regain his composure. He cannot. He's going to have to settle for a bogey, and here's Pinegar to tap in for his birdie.
There we go.
Nicely done.
Cale, full routine while he's putting, no matter what the distance is. All right. On to hole number 9. We have a double mandatory right off the tee. You should not be missing either one of those mandatories. 614 feet par 4. This is a monster. This is... You have to throw 2 perfectly placed shots in order to catch the birdie on this hole. There's going to be another mandatory halfway up the fairway. It's going to be this little leaning tree on the left-hand side that we're coming up to right now. You must stay right of that. And then you got to make it all the way to the basket. It's a tough hole. I really like it.
And for those that have tuned in to Wintertime in the past, this used to be the hole that Macbeth would just slay. We saw him make 85-footer after 85-footer for eagle here. This pin has now moved back, what would you say, another 100 feet. So eagle is not as accessible, but you will still see people take that big flexing up and over line to give themselves a good look at this pin.
Yeah, I believe one year he got 4. He went 3 for 4 on his eagles, which was just crazy.
Gross.
Yeah, he went 2 in the round, and then his third one was during the final 9.
Yeah, filthy. And Pinegar is going to show us this up and over. As long as you can clear that Mando, this is the preferred play, so you can get that right to left movement at the end. However, the players aren't going to show you this, but this is a difficult hole to do a full follow-through on because that right tree does come into play a little bit on your swing. So that's going to play into your brain here. Cale throwing the more difficult line. He gets caught up at the end there. He's going to have a tough time looking at a birdie after that shot. And I think Jeff yanked that.
Yeah, he ended up hitting the tree on the right-hand side of the fairway. May have even been out of bounds. Parker throwing like a lower version.
And he just laced that.
Yeah,
That
1
was
foot to the
full power.
left, and he would have been in the field. He would have been in the field where you can see the basket.
You see Jeff navigating that Mando. He's still going to have a tough time getting up and down from there. This hole's really paramount to get off the tee well. Otherwise, you're pretty much in scramble mode the entire way. We even see Cale didn't have much of a swing there. It looked like he just navigated the Mando on the right side. And he's probably going to have a tough time getting up and down for par.
Looks like Parker's lining up for the sidearm here. Going to go through the grove. Wow.
It's going to be short.
That's a good throw from there, but yeah, he's going to be, it looked like he might be buried in the bushes just short of the basket.
Looks like Jeff caught some cabbage there on the way out and just hit the nose down of his disc and took a lot of the steam out of it. Finally get to Pinegar, who annihilated his disc, and he's got a much more open shot to the basket.
Wow.
Really well done.
Wow.
That's going to be strokes on folks if he can capitalize on that birdie putt. Even that's difficult from Jeff. He's still got some meat on the bone after that.
Here we go. Here's Parker's shot.
This is for birdie. Difficult. Outside the circle, full commitment. Just couldn't get it up. Uphill putt. When you're doing that fall forward, it's so hard to get the height on it. Good tourniquet putt from Jeff. And just textbook from Pinegar here. Takes his time on his putt. Cash.
And that is how you want to play the hole.
We got a battle here. Look at this. We got Pinegar at 10, Cale at 11, Parker at 11. Going into the back 9.
It's getting exciting.
Hold on to your boots, folks.
All right, guys, that's it for the front 9, round number 2 of the 45th annual Wintertime Open. Thank you, Mike Sale, for being here.
Absolutely.
Stick around for the back 9 of round number 2, Wintertime Open.
There.